Hi guys, today we are going to be doing the mid-year book tag, but first, welcome back to the channel where we read between mental breakdowns because books are cheaper than therapy. I'm Tara, let's jump into it. Before we really dive into it though, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Me sharing a book does not equate to me endorsing an author. At this point in time, I might not support or endorse an author that is featured in this video. I encourage you to please do your own research and endorse and support authors and creators that you personally align with. Okay, so jumping into it, as an added note, I have tried to pick different books and different authors for each of these questions, but some of these books may fall into multiple categories. Also, that being said, I have had a bit of a slow reading year. I think I set my goal this year to be 50 and I think I'm at like 22 books so far, and today is July 7th. I have just been experiencing a ton of migraines this year. I've been kind of spending some time with my husband watching movies, so I have not read as much as usual, and I have read a lot of like highly recommended books this year. So, you know, some of these books are going to be the books that you see all over Book Talk, and I know people hate that, but that is just my reality right now. The first question is, what is the best book so far this year? And I will say this is a very personal one. I'm not necessarily saying this is the best written book, but it is for me Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. If you have read the Boys of Tommen series, then if you know, you know. It's really funny to me because the Boys of Tommen series is actually everything I kind of like hate in a story. Like, I don't tend to like just like useless, rambly, unnecessary conversations that just go on and on and on. And that's basically the entire Boys of Tommen series. But something about the way that Chloe Walsh writes, from the get-go, from the first book, it just had me wanting to know more. Like, I wanted to be involved in the conversations. Also, I hate any type of like art, books, television, music, whatever, that is focused in on like high school, or I don't know what that's called in other countries. But again, for some reason in this book, it works. And I think it's because it doesn't feel like I'm reading about high schoolers. Like, it does, but it doesn't. I will say I don't necessarily recommend this series to everybody. It is a very, very dark, very like traumatic series, this book being the worst of them all. Each book contains like different traumas of certain characters. Like, it focuses in on two characters or one character and kind of just like really breaks down their trauma. But the thing about the other books is I feel like there's a lot of focus on like the chosen family, which is why I'm so drawn to this series. Like, chosen family will get me every single time. But in the past books, like I said, the chosen family plays such a big part. So like, when you're reading the trauma that the characters are experiencing, you are getting that little break to see them like have moments of peace and happiness with people that make them feel safe. This book is just like non-stop trauma. There is no peace, there is no break. It is hard, but I picked it as the best book of 2025 so far because I just like, I'm so deeply invested in this world and in these characters. And I'm not gonna say I didn't expect to care about Lizzie because I know Chloe Walsh and I know what she's capable of, but Lizzie was never a character, or Hugh, honestly. Neither of the characters in this book were characters that I was drawn to in any of the other books. Like, I did not care about them, but I knew that I would leave this book caring about them, and that in fact was the case. If you are curious, the Boys of Tommen series follows like a group of friends in a like a private like high class school. The boys play rugby, the girls all kind of like are paired with one of the guys. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily read like high school, but you are dealing with, you know, young adults. So some of the conversations, some of the decisions that they make are poorly, they are immature. Yeah, if you are into chosen family and you can handle a lot of different triggers, I recommend it, but please, please, please do your research and look into trigger alerts before you get into the series. The second question is best sequel of the year so far, and this is going to be a bit of a controversial take, but again, I need you to remember I haven't really read a whole lot, and I haven't really read a lot of sequels. I think I've only read two sequels this year, and one of them was Releasing 10. I had to put Onyx Storm in here. But again, I'm not necessarily saying that the Fourth Wing series is the best written series that there has ever been. I will say that I am deeply drawn to like the dragons in these stories more than the people. I am so entertained by the dragons. I love Taryn. The reason that this book did it for me was because I am a sucker for chosen family, and this is all about chosen family. I'm not going to go really in depth about this because everybody knows about it. There's a lot of controversy surrounding it. I am just now like breaking down my feelings about the author and the things that I have heard, so I don't necessarily want to endorse or support it or the author, but that is, you know, kind of up for you to decide. Do your research, see if it's something excuse me, that you align with. But this series is about a group of dragon riders and a war college, and this is the third book in the series, so if that's something that you're interested in, look into it. But this is one of the very few sequels that I have read this year, so that's the one that was picked for this spot. Question number 3 is new release that you have not read yet, but you want to. And for me, that is the Oathbound book in the Legendborn series. I cannot yet read this because I just got done reading Legendborn last week. I have not read, I think the second book is called Bloodmark. So, but this one just came out this year. This series is about, Legendborn is the first book, and the series is about a girl who loses her mother in an accident. And you're just like, the book starts with you seeing her experience this immense grief. And then she goes away to early college, and she kind of discovers that everything is not as it seems. And she thinks that maybe there is something more to her mother's death. And she discovers a secret society, gets involved with it. It is beautifully, again, I haven't read this one, but the Legendborn book is beautifully written, descriptive, like the history, the background, I think it's such a beautiful book, and I can't wait to read more about it. I will say about the discourse surrounding this series, I made a video on TikTok talking about how like so many people are so quick to discredit a group of people's experience with this book, this series, and finding it at bookstores.
Y'all aren't listening! You're not listening! Ah! Ah!
And I think we need to really be open to listening and learning. And there was just a lot of discussion about how this book came out this year and you could not find it on shelves. And it is a very popular series, but yet you could find books like Fourth Wing everywhere. And I will say that I had to drive an hour and a half out of town to find both this book and the second book. So there is definitely some merit to that conversation. And I just encourage you guys, like, we need to always be listening and learning and growing, and let people speak, let people share their experiences, validate those experiences. So I'm just really happy for what this series has done, the conversations that it has triggered, and I'm really excited to get into this one because the first book was so good. Question number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of 2025? And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, I don't know. Like, I tried doing a quick Google of like anticipated releases in 2025, and I got kind of the same, you know, ones that you typically see, like any kind of Emily Henry book or any kind of Rebecca Yarros book. I don't know. I'm gonna be kind of like so for real with you. I'm not super on top of like when things are releasing because I kind of just read whatever, and if I hear a book so often, like I'm interested, I want to grab it, I want to read it. So I'm kind of constantly just like hearing of books and grabbing them, and I don't pay that much attention to books that are coming up unless I'm like super invested. So I'm not sure, but if you have a super anticipated read of the end of 2025, please leave it in the comment section. Let me know. I guess I need to like get anticipated about something. Question number 5 is, what book disappointed you the most? And I fear that people are going to hate me for this one, but I am nothing if not real and authentic and true. And that was The Wedding People. I think I rated this a 3-star. And the reason this book was so disappointing for me is because I had such high expectations for it. I had heard nothing but incredible things about this book, so I think anytime something is super massively hyped, I think I built it up too high in my brain, and then it's just kind of a bit of a letdown. I found this book to be a bit of a snooze fest. If you haven't heard of it, The Wedding People is about a woman who, I feel like anything can kind of give away spoilers, but it is about a woman who escapes to a very luxe, very expensive hotel for a night, and she ends up getting pulled into a wedding party. I'll just say that. And you kind of find out like why she was there, what she was there to experience, and she kind of learns through these like quirky wedding people some things about herself and what she wants out of life and all the things, okay? I will say that if you are a fan of the White Lotus, to me this gave very much White Lotus vibes. I was a fan. I watched season 1 of the White Lotus, and I believe I watched season 2. I haven't caught up on the rest, but it gives very much White Lotus, and I think that's kind of what like set me off with this book. The tone was very odd. I don't know how to explain it, but just like the way that the characters communicated, I found myself bored most of the time. And the only time I was truly entertained was when 2 of the female main characters interacted. I found those parts to be really entertaining, but I think it took me like 2.5 weeks to get through this book, which to get through this size book for me, I should have finished this book in like 2 or 3 days time. So, you know, close to 3 weeks. It wasn't bad. 3 stars for me is kind of just like middle of the road. It is what it is. I'm not mad that I read it. I enjoyed parts of it, but it just kind of like is what it is. I was so built up in my head, and I was so sad that I didn't love it. Maybe it was just the wrong time in my life to read it, and maybe I need to give it a second shot. Question number 6 is, what book surprised you the most? And if you know anything about me, if you follow me on TikTok, this will be surprising to you. My most surprising book of 2025, Happy Place. I have read all of Emily Henry's other books, and I probably have rated them anywhere from 3 to 4 stars. If I'm gonna guess, I'd probably say 4 stars because I was invested, but I just never was like in love with them. I was never obsessed with them. I just kind of always say that I am shocked that Emily Henry is like the romance author of TikTok. It just surprises me when you have, you know, other authors. Like, I've read one Abby Jimenez book, and to me Abby Jimenez is very similar to Emily Henry, but her characters had more depth in that book. So I was like, why are we not hyping this person up more? I read Beach Read, which is like, I feel like the most popular Hen book, and I just like was like, I'm kind of boring. Like, it's a good story, but I feel like we didn't really get too much of our main characters.
I've never told anyone this before, but I'm addicted to peanut butter.
And that is why this book was so surprising to me, because out of all of Emily Henry's books, I feel like we got the most in-depth complexities about the characters in this book. So this book is about Harriet and Wynne, and they were previously engaged, and every year a group of friends from college and just, you know, in that whole world, they go on a trip together, and they live in a house for a week, and they kind of do the same things year after year, and they're a really close-knit group of friends. So when Harriet and Wynne get together in years past, it's kind of like, we can't do this because we have this friend group, and if something goes wrong, everything will kind of implode. So they end up breaking up. They don't tell their friends, and they are invited back on this yearly trip with this house with their friends, where they have to act like they are still together because just of some things that happen, they don't want to make the announcement on the vacation and ruin everybody's trip. I felt like with every single character in this book, basically every single character, we really got to know them. We got to know their backstory. We got to know, why are they the way that they are? Why do they think the way that they think? And that's what I felt like I was missing in past Emily Henry books. I don't think, besides Harriet's father maybe, there was not a single character in this book that I did not relate to in some way. There was something with every single character that I related to. So I believe this might be my first 5-star Emily Henry book. I really enjoyed it. Hands down, my favorite Emily Henry book. I was so shocked because I thought it was gonna be another book where I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm not mad I read it. It's good, it's fine, but like, why are we hyping up Emily Henry so much? But this, it's a good one, y'all. Question number 7 is, who is your favorite new author, whether it's a debut or new to you? And hands down, Tracy Deonn. I had never read a Tracy Deonn book before. I read Legendborn and I was like, this author knows how to work. I got my Taylor Swift bookmark in here. Beautifully, beautifully written. I just love so much of her writing and this story, and I'm trying to remember, I read at the end of this book, she talked about like where her inspiration came from, and I loved reading about that. I feel like I don't ever hear that from authors. When you get to the acknowledgments, it's kind of just like, thank you to this person, this person, and this person, but we don't really hear like, where did they get the inspiration from this book? And I loved reading about her history, her family's history, how it played into the story, the different changes that she made. I am just so impressed by her writing and her storytelling, and I just felt like when we're in a world where there are so many fantasy books and they are all so similar, and we're kind of like hearing and reading the same tropes over and over and over again, Tracy Deonn gave me something different. This book is different than others that I have read, and I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to read the rest of her books. Question number 8 is your favorite fictional crush, and again, I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't really had, I think I've been reading this year a lot of just like female empowerment books, or books that are just more about like character development, so there haven't been a lot of, I haven't read a lot of romance, I guess what I will say, but I think that I really enjoyed Beckett, I think it was Beckett Gentry, was that his name, in The Last Letter, because he reminded me so much of my own husband. My husband is a Marine, a retired Marine, and just like the way that that man moved through the world with his whole purpose being to protect this woman and make her life easier and all the things, it reminded me so much of my husband and the life that we lived, like the life I lived as a military wife. So I guess I would say that, but I have not read a ton of like, I haven't read a ton of romance. Question number 9 is favorite character, and again, because I am trying to do a variety of books and not refer to the same books over and over again, because I think if I did that, maybe I would say the character in Legendborn, Bree Matthews, but to try to branch out and do something different, I am reading the Zodiac Academy, which these books are not great, TBH. Like they're not great. But whatever, we are reading them. I took a break after starting the 3rd book because the bully romance was a lot for me. I wouldn't even say it was bullying, like it's straight up like risking people's lives. But because we're trying to have some variety, I will say Tori and Darcy, I just like in that book that they have such resilience, that their traumas and their past history have just caused them to like never give up, to have so much resilience, to keep pushing, to support each other, to see the good in others even when they don't want to, even when it's difficult. So while I haven't necessarily like loved reading the book itself, and I don't think it's the greatest quality, I do think that the longer I go on to read those books, I think the characters will really like, I could not remember what I was trying to say. I think that the characters will really grow on me because I see already like their strengths and their sensitivities, and I can only imagine those are going to become more pronounced the longer that we read the series. So yeah, this is Zodiac Academy. If you live in some world where you haven't heard of it, basically these 2 girls, Tori and Darcy, I believe their names are, it's been a while since I have read it. Essentially like they are 2 sisters who live in the real world, and they discover one day that they are actually meant to be part of this fae, not even fae, it's definitely not fae. They I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna say about this book, because it is a mess. So they end up going to Zodiac Academy. As you can see, like it is based in a magical school where you have vampires and dragons and I don't know, Pegasus. There's just all sorts of magical creatures, and you find that they were just living as 2 normal teenagers in the real world, but in this magical world, they are actually heirs to the throne. So they enter this academy where there are other individuals that have been being raised up as heir to the thrones because they thought that Darcy and Tori were dead. So when Darcy and Tori show up and they start training and learning at the Zodiac Academy, it starts a lot of drama. Yeah. That's all I gotta say about that. Can you tell I feel weirdly about Zodiac Academy? I'm just kind of shocked it is such a popular series. Question number 10 is, what book made you cry? And I'm just gonna say this right now. My favorite type of books are books that like devastate my soul. So those are books that I actively seek out often. I read often. It takes a lot to make me cry. So there has only ever been one book that has made me cry, and it made me sob, and that was A Little Life.
I think I will ask God why for the rest of my life, and never will I come to understand it. Even if God himself came in front of me and told me the reason, I don't think I would accept it. Some loves are too hard to bear, and with great love comes great pain, and with great loss comes the greatest pain of all. If love could have saved you, you would have lived forever.
Other than that, books haven't made me cry. I find that the thing I'm most triggered by in stories is grief. So if there is a heavy emphasis on grief, then that is when I will get the most emotional. So the book that came closest to that was 1,000 Boy Kisses. 1,000 Boy Kisses is about a girl who, you know, she was raised up by her grandmother who told her, she gave her this jar and these slips of paper, and essentially her wish for her was that in her lifetime she finds a great love and gets 1,000 of these like life-shattering, world-breaking kisses. And she finds out that I guess this is, I mean, it's a spoiler, but it's what the story is about. So if you don't want to know anything about it, maybe skip like 40 seconds ahead. But in the book, she finds out that she has a terminal illness, and so she has limited time to get these 1,000 kisses from her boyfriend, from the love of her life. And the book is kind of just about that, how this guy, her boyfriend, is going through the grief alongside of her, but he's also trying to fulfill her wishes of getting the 1,000 kisses before her life ends. And the reason the book came closest to making me cry is because when she ultimately passes away, seeing this man just go through life afterwards and learn lessons from that and grieve, it was so beautifully tragic to me. And it came really, 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 really close to making me cry, but it didn't. So, and I think it's because we had the whole book to prepare for that moment. So I had like a wall, a shield up. But yeah, the only book to ever make me cry, A Little Life. If you have a book that you truly believe like it will devastate my soul, please comment it, let me know. I'm telling you, I'm actively at all times seeking out those books. Question number 11, what book made you happy? And again, I was trying to have some variety, having read only like 22 books this year. So I wrote down The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It made me happy because the writing is so beautiful. If you haven't read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which at this point I'm sure you have, it is a book, I'm sorry, I have like fur on my face and it itches. It is about a woman who essentially makes a deal with the devil to never die. But to have the life that she has, she is cursed with this curse that anytime she goes out of somebody's view, they completely forget her. So she can meet someone, and if they turn around and talk to somebody else, like let's say you're at a bookstore and the bookstore worker talks to her, has a conversation with her, turns around to talk to somebody else. When they turn back around to look at her, they will not remember her, they will not know her. So it's kind of just like her going through life, meeting these people, having these connections, falling in love, but these people obviously that she experiences life with, they don't remember her. And so you're probably like, why would that book make you happy? The writing. I thought the writing was some of the most beautiful writing I have read in a long time. It was beautifully poetic and prosy, and I just think, I don't know if that author has other books, I haven't looked into it, But I will say reading that, I'm like, I would like to read more books by her because the writing is chef's kiss stunning. Question number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book you've gotten so far? And this one will kind of be a repeat because Legendborn, the whole series as a whole, these covers are stunning. Like, I knew that even if I read this book and I didn't enjoy it, I was still going to buy the series, which I know is wasteful and whatever, but look how stunning. Look at them. Like, are you kidding me? The colors, the colors in this story, the character, it's herself on the cover, just like gorgeous. I could not have these displayed on my bookshelves. And lastly, question number 13, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? This is a book that I have been putting off forever, and I don't know why, because I have not heard a single bad thing about this book. It sounds like it's right up my alley. It sounds stunning. I cannot wait to read it. I just keep putting it off. I don't know why. Like, sometimes I say maybe it's the size of the book, but I've read tons of large books, so I don't know. But The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, I honestly don't even know what it's about. I think it's something about a war, and I don't remember. I want to read this book. And again, see, it's a very large book, but like all the books that I read, not all the books, but plenty of books that I read are like 1,000+ pages. So I'm not sure what it is about this one that I keep putting off, but please leave a comment. Let me know, like, do I need to get to this book right away? Am I okay putting it off? I don't know. I just need I need some convincing, but this is the first book. And then the second book is Sunrise on the Reaping. So these are kind of the two books that I really want to read within the next little bit. But as of right now, I'm trying to read some like light and fluffy, airy books. After reading Legendborn, that is such a full book. There's like a lot to it. I just kind of wanted to take a break and read light, fluffy, like rom-coms. So maybe soon I will dive back into these heavier, heartbreaking stories. Let me know. And that is all that I have for you guys today with the book tag, the mid-year book tag. I cannot believe we are in July. It's crazy. Today is my son's 14th birthday, so everybody say happy birthday to my son. Thank you guys for the support that you have shown so far to this channel. It is a brand new channel, and you guys have blown up my shorts, so thank you for that. Please leave me comments engaging, letting me know about any of these books that I discussed, upcoming books, books that I need to read, or just like anything that you like to watch in YouTube videos. So thank you guys again for all of the support and welcoming me to BookTube, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!